there guys, Ken here, your thrifty apprentice, and in this video we're going to be painting this floor vase with a flower arrangement in it. I'm using my Marie's Masters watercolor paints. These are their professional brand, and I'm painting on Fabriano Studio 140-pound cold press acid-free watercolor paper. Now this is a 25% cotton blend, so it's a little bit better grade student grade paper than I typically use in a video. I am starting off by painting the vase with a base coat of the yellow ochre, and once I get that in with a wet wash, I'm going to go back in on my shadow side with a little bit heavier consistency of that same color. Again, just putting down my base coats so that I can come back in with the second layer in order to start adding detail. Now these paints are pretty cool. I said in a previous video that I've been enjoying using them. They do kind of put me in the mind of some other brands that I have. So I felt like they were really familiar, and I didn't have any problems with handling the paints. I will say I did notice right away that the paints will reactivate after they dry really well. You're able to go in and scrub that color up and kind of move it around a little bit. So that may be something to keep in mind if you decide to get these paints, or if you use these paints, that they do lift. They will lift and re-wet and reblend. Now I'm jumping in and painting the daisy stem and leaves that's on the vase. Here I am using the sap green. I'm going to use some lemon yellow towards the inside of that stalk, and then I mix sap green with Prussian blue to get a deeper green, more saturated, and I use that to base in the shadow of the stem and the leaves on the daisy that's actually on the vase. Next, I moved on to painting the leaves that are inside the vase for the flower arrangement, and I'm going to go through and base coat in each of the leaves and the stem that's associated with it. Now you saw there I painted in the daisy stem and leaves, and I'm gonna do the same thing with the daffodil and the leaves for the daffodil. Now the great thing about it being so much green in this arrangement is that I was able to use one color to paint a lot of different surface area. Although the drawing and the sketching is small, so there's a lot of little places to paint and a lot of detail that's going to be required to make each individual item kind of stand out from what's next to it. Now I zoomed in here just so you guys could get a better look at exactly what I'm doing. Now I'll tell you, I really like this Fabriano Studio paper. The 25% cotton addition to it makes it handle much better than most cellulose student grade papers. The water absorption rate was not nearly as bad, should I say, as it is on a regular just student grade cellulose, budget grade paper. So I really did like the fact that the paper kind of stayed wet in certain areas longer than what I'm normally used to. You mix that with the fact that the paints re-wet really well and will lift and move. You have to be careful with the combination of the two. Well, that's just from my painting experience anyway. Now here what you see that I've done is I painted in the base coat of yellow for the daffodil, and then I took the Payne's gray and water it down. Water it down. You want to get it really light, and you're going to go in and you're going to base in the petal of the daffodil. Now here's the thing, most times when you have a white object that you're painting, there's an undertone that you can pick up on that's going to help bring that object out. In the case of my daffodils, I decided to pick up on the gray undertones that you can normally see in order to paint those petals, which made the daffodil petals stand out from against the white background. I also painted the center of that flower with a little bit of the same lemon yellow that was used to paint the daffodil. Now I'm saying daffodil when I'm talking about painting the white petals, but I really mean daisy. So guys, just forgive me, kind of go with me. I got a little confused there. The white ones are daisies, the yellow flower is a daffodil. Now I took some burnt sienna and mixed it with a little bit of that yellow ochre. I went in and shaded in the shadow side of my vase in order to add a little bit more saturation and depth to that shadow side. And now I'm actually basing in the table that the vase is sitting on. Or well, technically it's the floor. It's not the table, it's the floor. Now I base that in with the same burnt sienna that I used in the burnt sienna and yellow ochre mix to shade the vase. Keeping color harmony, trying to make sure that I use the same colors throughout the painting. We only used sap green, Prussian blue, lemon yellow, yellow ochre, burnt sienna, and Payne's gray, if I'm not mistaken. We use a little burnt umber as well because we're going to use that to do the planks on the floor. Now here I'm using that same sap green and Prussian blue mixture to go in and add in the shading and shadows on each of the individual leaf. The stem of the leaf stalk itself. I'm adding in the shadows and the shading on the stem of the daisy and its leaves, adding in the shading on the stem of the daffodil and its leaves. So yeah, basically, because it was so much green, again, I was able to use that one color in order to do a lot of the shading that was required for this painting. It's just small and detailed. That's it. This is a really easy composition, guys. Anybody can do this, and it really is one of the paintings that fall into the simple painting series that we've been doing. Really straightforward, really easy. Now here I'm going to start kind of bringing out that daffodil. So I'm taking yellow ochre once again, and I'm dropping that yellow ochre into the shadow areas of the petal and around the trumpet of that. Now what I want to do is make that trumpet stand out from the petals. So as I shade in the area around where the petals will meet the trumpet, I let it fade out, and then I just kind of shade in where each of those leaves are meeting, so that you can see each of the petals are meeting, excuse me, so you can see each of the individual petals of the daffodil. Now here I'm doing the exact same thing with the daisies. The only difference is I'm using that watered down Payne's gray. This time, because the paper is dry and the consistency is a little thicker, I'm able to get more detail. I decided that I was going to keep this a strict watercolor painting just to test the paints. I'm not using any pen or any other addition to this painting other than a little gel pen for some highlights. Now I went in and shaded in the dark area of the trumpet for the daffodil where the stems will be coming out. And now I'm grabbing a ruler to make sure that the planking or the paneling on the floor is straight. And I'm going to go in with that burnt umber in order to shade in the back area where the white wall meets the floor. You would sort of have a floorboard there. And then I'm taking that burnt umber and coming down and making sure to shadow in each of the panels of the floor so that you could see each individual panel. I'm also going to take some of that burnt umber and kind of go in and do some faux marking so that the wood would look, kind of worn and torn. I thought that it adds a lot of character to the wood. I'm going to go back in and shade in some more around that daffodil, just making sure, hitting all of my shadow areas again, because I really want them to stand up to the light, give dimension, little realism. Here I'm taking a heavier wash or glaze, if that's what you want to call it, of the burnt sienna, going back over the floor. I'm doing the same thing with the vase and the yellow ochre. I'm doing the lighter side with another layer of just plain yellow ochre. And then the shadow side, you're going to see me get really heavy. I'm going to get really heavy with this shadow here because I really wanted to round out the vase. Now, after I get that wash on the way I want it, I'm going to take paper towel and blot it back. Blot it back. Don't be scared to blot some off to get the look that you want. Now we're taking Payne's gray and we're going to add in a shadow. We want that shadow to come forward because the sun is coming in from a window somewhere off the back of the room. We're going to add in a little darker line up under there just to make sure. And now we're going to hit this up with some highlights a yellow gel pen, not a yellow gel pen, a white gel pen. So guys, that's pretty much it. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. Share the video. Sharing is caring. Follow us on social media sites. Thrifty Apprentice Facebook group is Paints, Pencils, Pastels, and Markers. And remember, as I always tell you, just keep painting and crafting.